everyone. So, welcome back to my channel. So always happy to find you here. I do upload on Thursday, so when you subscribe, and you should subscribe, you will be notified when I have uploaded new content for your view. And of course, my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Today is Easter. Happy Easter. However you celebrate it, to whomever you serve, I hope you have a glorious day. For this topic, I am wanting to approach the topic of how we can personalize Easter, meaning how we can personalize the risen self, how we can demonstrate the kindness, what would Jesus do? The kindness that the Bible or whatever book you follow would want us to do. Not that we are perfect, but how can we just demonstrate that? And for your view, I was going to say for your pleasure, but that's an assumption. I hope it's your pleasure. For your pleasure, I hope. I am going to drop in the description box my upload about Easter last year, which was called or entitled, Easter Ain't About a Bunny, Honey, because it really ain't. We have learned to commercialize everything, and we have learned to modify a true existence of things, meaning even in our encounters with others, we have learned to lessen it. So when we receive something of great value, we often overlook that by default of the practice of lessening things. But having said that, so I will drop that in the description box. And in search of that, I would also drop in two other uploads that I did. And those were basically on the behaviors of people in which they place themselves in a God-like position to overpower another person. One was the Mike Richards of Jeopardy, executive producer of Jeopardy last year. And then the other was a couple called Tim and Alissa, in which he deliberately bought a jumble board to break up with her. This is putting yourself in a God-like position. I am going to embarrass her before the world. Now, this was the jumble board that he purchased was at a major, almost sellout baseball game. And it was almost sellout, not because so many people were there, but because COVID had limited the number of seats they were selling. So in that regard, it was almost sold out. When we do something like that, we are trying to want a person. We are trying to say with you that you don't matter. And we often fail to realize there is an immediate boomerang to that. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. When we do something that is designed by default to belittle and hurt another person, it will come back to you. It's a part of the natural karma. Okay, so those two I'll drop in the description box. So there'll be 3 links of my uploads in the description box. That's what those are about. What I'd like to offer today is how to be risen ourselves. And by that, I mean, when our lives situations develop us, our lives course, meaning something we learn by desire, or something we learn by experience, or something we didn't expect to learn, but we ended up by default learning. The development of who we are, if we don't rise to the occasion of that lesson, we often have to repeat it. This is why so many times a person will break up and date again, or go to another job again, or have to have therapy on the same thing again. Because the more they didn't learn the lesson the first time, the deeper the lesson has to sit within them. Meaning, let me give you an example. help me make things clearer. Today, my energy has been kind of, I have a lot of things I'm considering right now. Just a lot of, I would say good things, but choices that will, so anyway, I need my energy reshifted, please. With the balance, I'm seeking the balance. Thank you. When I say to be risen, by that I mean when we rise in consciousness, what I call to be woke, to become aware of something within ourselves that is an improvement within ourselves. And we don't change behavior by that awakening, by that awareness, by that reality. By default, we might have to repeat the lesson. Because that's what the awakening came to you for. That's what the awokeness came to you for. It's kind of like saying a person that goes to church every week. So we're talking Easter here, so I'll use church as an example. A person who goes to church every week, but you see no change in them as a person. You see no more patience. You see no more demonstration of love. You see no more long suffering. You see no more of the fruit of the spirits, and you actually just see them managing their poor behaviors better. And that's a form of improvement. So this is what I mean by that. When you come to a place, when we come to a place of understanding that this is a thing in our lives that can be improved for the betterment of our lives, for the long term of our lives, and we don't change our behavior for that. We became awoke and aware, but we didn't change by default of that. By default, to me, you're a fool. Now, I've had that conversation with a few people who I consider conscious leaders, people that I feel safe in sharing that view with. And they go, "Oh, Sheri, that's harsh to call a person a fool." And I said, "Well, what would you call it?" I look at every gift of personal development, self-enhancement. You've become better. You've become risen. As a gift to the universe. It didn't have to come to you. It could have come to somebody else. It could have left you low down as you were when they first found you there. I consider it a gift of wokeness, a gift of consciousness, a gift of understanding, a gift from the universe directly. So when the universe comes to you and offers you, us, me, you, us, people in general, a gift to be risen, and we take it without changing, by default, to me, we're a fool. Because the purpose to be changed is to now be able to harness in, harvest in, and harbor in that thing which you couldn't get before had you not changed. You couldn't have her before. You weren't good enough. You couldn't have that job before. You weren't trained enough. You couldn't manage that money before. You weren't smart enough. You couldn't avoid a divorce before. You weren't loving enough. You couldn't do those things before. You were not woke enough. But you're woke now. And you are not a fool. You're a king, or a queen, or a knight, or a bishop, wherever you are in your place of what I call human royalty by default, that all creation is that for you to have been gifted the gift of awareness, awokeness, consciousness, to change your ways and get what that change got you ready for, and you not do it, by default, you're a fool. You will never get her. You're not good enough. Respectfully, stay with the women who are not worthy of you in the first place, because she wants the better man who you really are, or vice versa. She wants the better man who you are. He wants the better woman, whatever it is. As an example, the same thing for a job. You can't get that job. You're not trained enough. So get the training. And when you get the training, you want your boss's position, but you're not ready yet. So observe. This is what I mean by to be risen. And when you are, conduct yourself that way. So let's use the example of, again, of relationships, for example, because that everyone can relate to, because not everybody wants to rise in their position. Not everybody wants to these others, but relationships. So Easter is about relating to people. So let's use that. If you keep a behavior that's unbecoming to a person who's intolerable or intolerable to that, it's not that they don't want you. They're intolerable to the behavior, and you will make the mistake in leaving them. So it's a double whammy. And now they really don't. All of this comes from unaware, unwoke, unconscious you. Whatever we do. So to be risen, to be conscious, and to really be awoke, you make the best decisions for yourself. Your pride is out of the way. Your ego's out of the way. Your refusal to make the call. This is childish. Your refusal, if you're an adult and you're afraid to make a call, afraid to have a conversation, afraid to speak, one or two things are happening. There's no other option. One is you're being extremely immature. No, you are being immature. Or two, you are blocked. Some people call it, throat chakra. Some people call it just like, fear. They want to give it a name. You are blocked. You are unable to use your voice in such a powerful way as to grab, harness, and harvest that which you truly want. And that starts with, I'm sorry. Sorry for what I did. It's so hard for people to just apologize. You lost all that behind your inability to take accountability. This is what to be risen is. So rise above yourself on this Easter. You be that rising star. You be that rising person. You get that position you wanted. You get that chick you wanted. You get that guy you wanted. You get those things you want that would make your life better. Because after all, you've done the work for it. And I love you. Happy Easter. I love y'all. Bye. I'm going to talk about something else, but next time. Okay, bye.